All right, welcome back to another episode of Unprepared. Today we are welcoming Jordan Brannon from Coalition Technologies. I had to remember that. I just noticed it a second ago. How are you doing today, Jordan?
Doing really well. How are you, Chase?
I'm doing fantastic. This is probably the third one of these I recorded in one day. So here's word to the wise. If you are doing content marketing like this, for anyone else listening, set your links up to only have one a day, because then you get nothing else done. So Jordan, you want to give a little background about the company and how you help people?
Yeah, absolutely. So Coalition is a e-commerce focused full service digital agency. We were founded about 10 years ago, and we have about 200 people today. And our focus is really in helping small to mid-sized e-commerce businesses grow through direct-to-consumer or B2B website sales. So we're less focused on marketplaces and really are focused on your own brand.com. And so our primary services are web design and development, SEO, SEM, and paid social.
Awesome. And then obviously about 6 weeks ago, the world kind of turned upside down. Yep. So I guess I have two specific questions for you. So one, what happened with your company then and then now? Obviously, there's a big difference in these last couple of weeks. And then second question is, what happened with your clients' companies? Especially with my audience, it's definitely more direct-to-consumer brands. So that's very, very on the nose for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think for us, we were well positioned. We're privately owned, so we've never had sort of external stakeholders who have say in what happens with us. And so when we sort of saw some of the economic pullback and some of the other things that were happening, we were in a position where we got to make the decisions, which was really helpful. We also have been very careful about taking on an external debt, so we were in a really good spot to dictate sort of our own outcomes. And we've got a really fantastic team of people around us who is clearly really focused on what they can do to help our clients. And so when we saw sort of the wind up and then the pitch, we were able to respond pretty quickly. My co-founder and I were able to take pay cuts ourselves to help kind of create some immediate margin where we could keep our team members on. And then we had a really surprising response from our team, and that a lot of them also volunteered for additional pay cuts just in sort of the immediate outcome of kind of the bigger pandemic and lockdowns and things like that. So all in, we're still fully staffed. We haven't had people we've had to let go, and really well positioned for the foreseeable future and sort of being able to weather whatever is coming with kind of future quarantines and infection rates and all that sort of thing. So that's been really encouraging to see. Our impact really did come from the impact towards our clients. So we've been remote work for most of the last 10 years. And so there wasn't a lot of change directly to us. Most of the change really happened for our clients. We have a lot of clients in California, in New York, in the Northeast. And so as we saw sort of these lockdowns declared, as we saw people have to stay at home, especially for non-essential businesses, most of our D2C brands sort of found themselves with warehouses full of inventory and showrooms full of inventory, and just weren't in a position where they could even go in to sell it. And so since we are doing performance marketing for a lot of them, or we're working on e-commerce websites and website experiences that no longer could sell something, a lot of them were sort of in an immediate cash flow crunch where they had to pause services with us. And that's where we saw sort of the consequence of things. In the last week or two, we've really seen perspectives shift for our clients. Some have been able to receive federal funding and state funding to help support them. And then we've been able to help a lot of them pivot their business so that they're able to effectively sell their product and move inventory, or find alternative channels to generate revenue. And so those have sort of been kind of the key things that we've been doing in the last couple of weeks to really help kind of change the outcomes for our clients and for ourselves.
That's amazing that you could keep your entire staff on during this, and I applaud that. That's amazing. I love that. Additionally, with your clients, so with the staff that large, how many active clients did you have? Maybe as far as percentages go, that as a result of this, they had to kind of scale things back or put things on hiatus. And then I do have, and then my follow-up question to that is, how many of them now are kind of seeing positive returns with the efforts again? I guess the direct point of that question is to essentially lay out that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The grass is definitely back. It's like working again. I don't know what that grass statement was, but it's working for a lot of our clients, and I'm sure you see it on your end as well.
Sure. Yeah, so we have about 160 active clients at a given time, and that's across all services. So some of them are maintenance, where we're sort of doing site upkeep and health checks and just kind of resolving any sort of bugs. Others are sort of shopping feed type support activities or app support type activities, and then some of them are full service, web design development projects plus SEO and SEM and paid social and email. Others are more narrowly focused in that subset, and so there's sort of a good mix there. Really, the kind of web design development side of things, we didn't see much of an impact. Most people sort of view their website as a house, and so if you're going to invest in a piece of property and the upkeep of it, or remodel, you're doing it because you're looking at sort of the long-term value of it and not necessarily sort of short-term impacts. So we didn't really see a big shift there. On the marketing front, because some of our customers, especially, were kind of newer to marketing and maybe were smaller businesses, there was sort of a need to immediately create some cash flow opportunity. And so there was some pauses that happened as a result of that. We had probably about, I think, 10% of our customers who needed to go onto a pause in sort of kind of the lockdown type status. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen that shift where customers have found opportunities. We've been able to help them find opportunities to re-engage with existing customers or invest in new marketing activities that are allowing them to generate some revenue, whether that's through the product that they actually are able to sell and ship, or through new product relationships or alternative revenue generation models. So that's been pretty encouraging to see, and that's helped us get probably maybe 2% well, not 2%, but 2% of the total 10% that we had go on pause back in before the end of the month. So that's been really encouraging.
Awesome. And then before I let you go today, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think is worthwhile to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we're really talking to a lot of customers about is the focus on what you can do today to help tomorrow. So we do a lot of work in the SEO space. So we do a lot of work, again, focused in transactional website design. And so really dialing in on evergreen opportunities in SEO, whether we are cleared of lockdowns and quarantines in a couple of weeks or in a couple of months. Ultimately, we're heading into some of the busiest seasons for a lot of direct-to-consumer brands. And so investing in your SEO, looking ahead to Q4, looking ahead to maybe events like Prime Day, which are now sort of across all e-commerce channels, can be a really great investment. And then certainly, I think looking at investing in sort of your ability to transact through your website. Those are really great areas, again, to kind of invest and sort of look at like, hey, this is going to pass. Don't necessarily know the exact day, but I can put some effort here, and I'm going to see an outcome when the opportunity opens up again.
Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing your knowledge with us.
Yep, it was a pleasure, Chase. I thank you for having me in.